that was kind of interesting. So the Albertan wrote this saying historic $32.5 billion tobacco proposal faces final tests and series of hearings. Historic proposal that would see three major tobacco companies pay out billions to provinces and territories as well as former smokers across Canada is set to face its final test over the coming weeks. So, a historic proposal that would see at least three major tobacco companies pay out billions to provinces and territories, as well as former smokers across Canada, is set to face its final test over the coming weeks. The proposed $32.5 billion settlement between the companies JTI McDonald Corporation, Rothmans, Benson and Hedges, and Imperial Tobacco Canada Limited are their creditors received unanimous support from those creditors in a vote last month and must now obtain the court's approval. Over roughly half a dozen days of hearings starting Wednesday, the companies and other parties in this case will have the chance to formally voice the concerns or objections regarding the proposed deal. At least one of these companies has opposed the plan that was filed with the court in October, saying it would be impossible to implement unless several key issues were addressed. The Canadian Cancer Society, which is a social stakeholder in the case, has also called for changes to adding smoking reduction measures, warning governments could otherwise fumble a unique opportunity to rein in the tobacco industry and protect the health of Canadians. There is a one-time historic opportunity to get the provisions in the settlement right. It is essential that the settlement contain significant measures to reduce smoking. Rob Cunningham, the organization's lawyer, said in an email. This opportunity will never come. Several health advocacy groups have similarly denounced the proposed deal as inadequate, accusing provincial governments of selling out to the tobacco industry by accepting payouts that hinge on future sales of harmful products. The judge overseeing the years-long creditor protection proceedings acknowledged in November were the outstanding issues, including each company's share of the total payout. Ontario Superior Court Chief Justice Jeffrey Merowitz deemed the issue to be resolvable, however, and urged the parties to continue negotiating until the final hearing. If the deal is approved, provinces and territories stand to get more than $24 billion over the next 2 decades, while plaintiffs in the two class action lawsuits in Quebec could get more than $4 billion to split between them. Another $2.5 billion is earmarked for Canadian smokers, not included in the lawsuits, and more than $1 billion would go to a foundation to fight tobacco-related diseases. The money for the foundation also includes $131 million taken from the amount allocated to Quebec plaintiffs. The proposed deal was crafted by the monitors appointed to each company in collaboration with the mediator, capped off more than 5 years of confidential negotiations. Morowitz has called the case one of the most complex insolvency proceedings in Canadian history. The legal saga began in Quebec with a landmark ruling that found companies had been chosen profits over the health of their consumers in order to pay out $15 billion to plaintiffs with 2 class action lawsuits. The case migrated to Ontario in 2019 when the company sought creditor protection after the Quebec ruling was upheld on appeal. All legal proceedings against the 3 giants were frozen during the negotiations, an order that has now been extended until the end of January. The companies face claims of more than $1 trillion in total, including lawsuits from provincial governments seeking to recover smoking-related healthcare costs. Court documents show, along with the proposed deal itself, The court must also approve the fees sought out by lawyers in Quebec class actions. Court documents show the lawyers are seeking approval for more than $900 million in compensation for more than 175,000 hours of work in the case that began in the late 1990s. Wow. That says a lot, folks, about how corrupted these corporations are. And a lot of it has to stem from the fact that the tobacco industry didn't cease operation when people decided, hey, I'm not going to smoke because of cancer related issues or health related issues. They didn't go away. In fact, a lot of the people that worked in the tobacco industry that were propagandizing people to become smokers went off to become in the agricultural industry, to become the big food contributors. So the same people that convinced you to smoke and saying that doctors are okay with the mass amounts of tar in your lungs went off to work for big food and big sugar to say that ultra processed food is good for you. So those people just went to a different company. They went through that revolving door policy where once they get fired from one company, they just go somewhere else. It didn't go away. It didn't go away. So a lot of the people that may have worked in these tobacco industries in the 90s are now probably working for Coca-Cola, Kellogg's, all these other companies, flourishing and propagandizing, using the same marketing gimmicks to sell you ultra-processed food. And the fact that this case has been going on for decades, it's been going on since the 90s. And they're still going through it. They're still going through it. They're saying that there may be a settlement by the end of this month. But if it's been going on for this long, folks, and I'm sure they got more and more tricks up their sleeves to make it last as long as they did, I don't think they're going to get that $1 trillion to provinces, to the people affected by the tobacco industry. I have this hunch that since this case has been going on for so long, I'm sure they probably got more tricks up their sleeves. I'm sure that their lawyers, their marketers, their gimmicks, bribes, lobbyists, what have you, is going to work something out to keep this court case going. Because the longer this goes, the further extension they have to not pay this liability suit. That's upwards to trillions of dollars. I just have that hunch that since it's been going on for such an extended time, I don't think it's just going to be a simple guilty, here's the money. Just my opinion on it. This is brought to you by Ground News, the versatile news app and website that gathers all the world's media on one place and allows users to compare coverage. Ground News gives you the access of thousands of sources worldwide, allows you to see the media blind spots, and even gives analysis on the bias and factuality of those stories. Weave your way through the mainstream narratives, the corporate lies, and have total access to find complete information that you deserve. Click on the link below and get 15% off a subscription. Be critical, be informed, be ground.